The Caribbean became a theater of asymmetric warfare when the United States deployed a nuclear attack submarine. This machine, designed for total war, is now used against speedboats and narco-submarines. The shock that terrified the region was not due to an attack, but to the invisible omnipresence of a titanium beast patrolling its depths. Today we explore how the technology of silence dismantled the cartel's roots and why this deployment broke the asymmetry. Subscribe right now, activate the bell, give it a like, and share. The Caribbean, a sea of turquoise waters, white sands, and a history as turbulent as it is fascinating, has become, in the 21st century, the epicenter of a clandestine battle. It is not a war of fleets or bombers. It is a low-profile but high-intensity conflict against transnational drug trafficking networks. However, in 2020, the U.S. military deployment in this region took a dramatic turn, sending a message that resonated beyond territorial waters: the arrival of an asymmetric, silent, and terrifying force. The announcement was brief, but its meaning was thunder. The United States deployed a fast attack submarine, accompanied by a guided missile cruiser, to the Caribbean. The mission was clear: to curb drug trafficking and illicit smuggling. Nevertheless, the choice of the tool, a nuclear-powered war machine, designed for the annihilation of entire fleets or the launch of cruise missiles against speedboats and improvised narco-submarine, sent a shiver. The fast attack submarine is not a simple patrol vessel. It is one of humanity's most lethal and advanced creations. Its deployment on this maritime police mission transformed the Caribbean theater, elevating the level of deterrence to a declaration of absolute power and omnipresent stealth. The shock that terrified the region did not come from a visible attack, but from the knowledge that a titanium beast, invisible and unfathomable, was now patrolling its depths. To understand why the presence of a fast attack submarine generates such terror, it is imperative to dismantle its technical nature. We are not talking about a diesel-electric submarine. This is a marvel of modern naval engineering, likely a Los Angeles-class or Virginia-class submarine. Its power emanates from its energy source, a nuclear reactor. Nuclear propulsion grants the submarine autonomy for months, limited only by food reserves and crew endurance. This unlimited autonomy means that the vessel does not need to surface for refueling, a tactical advantage that translates into perpetual stealth. A fast attack submarine is, in essence, a predator that breathes underwater, capable of lurking 1,000 miles away without leaving a trace of heat, smoke, or fuel. The terror of its deployment lies in its silence. These submarines use advanced acoustic absorption technology and propulsion systems designed to counteract the phenomenon of cavitation, the formation of bubbles that produce detectable noise. The only way to find a fast attack submarine is to listen for. If a submarine manages to reach the silent flow, a speed where the noise it produces is less than the ambient noise of the ocean, it becomes, for practical purposes, invisible. Against the cartel's speedboats or even rudimentary narco-submarines, this technological asymmetry is total. Drug traffickers operate in a world where danger comes from the visible horizon. The submarine, on the other hand, operates from an undetectable abyss. The fear is not of the attack, but of the certainty that they are there, listening to every movement, every radio transmission, every vibration of their vessel's engines, without any possible defense or warning. The deployment of a fast attack submarine on an anti-narcotics mission represents the paradigm of asymmetric deterrent power. The submarine is not there to engage in naval combat. It is there to fulfill intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance (ISR) missions with a capability that no patrol aircraft or surface frigate can match. The true power of the vessel resides in its arsenal of sensors. Modern submarines are equipped with passive and active array sonars of the latest generation, capable of detecting and tracking the acoustic signature of vessels hundreds of kilometers away. This hypersensitive listening capability turns the vast Caribbean into a transparent environment for the United States Navy. The submarine can float in silence, near traffic choke points or known smuggling routes, and monitor the flow of people, drugs, and weapons with surgical precision. The terror that terrified the world, or, more accurately, the criminal networks in the region, is the knowledge of this capability. A makeshift narco-submarine, designed for simple stealth, becomes a noisy and easily traceable object for the sophisticated ear of an attack submarine. The mere presence of the vessel, even if it never fires a torpedo, freezes operations. The cartel's supply routes rely on predictability and lack of surveillance. The submarine introduces an unpredictable variable, invisible, omnipresent. Furthermore, although the mission does not involve nuclear combat, the context is inescapable. The submarine carries the capability to launch Tomahawk cruise missiles, precision tactical weapons capable of hitting land targets at long distances. The deployment of a platform with nuclear potential, even for a low-profile mission, is a reminder of the superpower's military might, sending a clear message to any state or non-state actor that might consider escalating conflict in the region. The logistical panic generated within criminal structures is, in itself, a victory for deterrence. We are navigating in the silent flow, right where the submarine becomes invisible to drug traffic. Next, we will explore how this vessel uses asymmetry to track homemade narco-submarines with magical precision. If you are fascinated by how Cold War technology is recycled for combating organized crime, support our mission. Subscribe right now, leave your like, and activate the bell. Only with your help can we maintain vigilance in the abyss. The scenario for this deterrence, the Caribbean, is not an easy environment for surveillance. The region is dotted with thousands of islands, cays, and inlets that serve as ideal transit points for smuggling. The fight against drug trafficking requires a deep understanding of criminal tactics, which have evolved from speedboats to ingenious narco-submarines or low-profile vessels, LPVS. These narco-submarines are rudimentary vessels, often built in improvised jungle shipyards, designed to travel just below the water's surface, minimizing their radar signature and visibility. Although they are slow and dangerous for their crews, they have posed a significant challenge to traditional patrol vessels and aircraft. This is where the fast attack submarine demonstrates its technical value. While a patrol aircraft relies on radar or visibility, and a surface vessel can be avoided by an LPV traveling silently under the wake of the waves, the submarine uses the marine environment itself as its tool. The LPVS, despite their low profile, are noisy, advanced sonar, and travel at shallow depths, making them the perfect target to be detected and tracked by the submarine's passive system. The submarine can launch unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs, and remote sensors to map smuggling, identify meeting points, or even track the trajectory of LPVS to guide surface destroyers at the precise moment of interdiction. The terror spreading among the cartels is not just the risk of cargo loss, but the total vulnerability of their logistical infrastructure. The only way to operate safely is to know that the enemy cannot see you. The submarine ensures that the enemy is always watching, even when you don't know it. The deployment of such overwhelming force in the Caribbean, although justified under the premise of regional security and the fight against drug trafficking, generates unexpected geopolitical and social consequences that contribute to the global shock. Firstly, there is the implied military escalation. The use of a nuclear submarine in the Caribbean, a sea historically prone to geopolitical tensions, recalling the Cuban Missile Crisis, is a demonstration of force that goes beyond narcotics. It is a reaffirmation of U.S. dominance in its backyard, and a message to global rivals such as China or Russia that underwater surveillance is total. The terror infused by the vessel affects not only the cartels, but forces any state actor to reconsider their movements in the region. Secondly, there is the paradox of forced peace. While the mission aims to reduce the flow of drugs and crime, the tool used is the personification of total war. This underscores the growing reliance of superpowers on advanced military technology to solve social and criminal problems. The peace imposed by the submarine is a peace based on asymmetric fear. Cartels, seeing their routes paralyzed and their LPVS detected with magical precision, enter into panic, not because of the threat of a shootout, but because of the invisible destruction of their supply chain. Finally, the legacy of the Cold War. The submarine, a direct heir to the nuclear confrontation, is recycled for the war against a low-profile enemy. This use of nuclear stealth in a completely different theater of war is the latest evolution of U.S. military power. The shock that terrified the world is the understanding that the best weapon of the Cold War has been reassigned, demonstrating that its capacity to create deterrent terror remains unmatched, even against speedboats. The deployment of the United States fast attack submarine to the Caribbean in 2020 was much more than an anti-narcotics operation. It was a strategic deterrence event that redefined security in the region. The premise that its power terrified the world is validated by the psychological and logistical terror it generated in criminal networks, forced to confront an enemy they could not see, hear, or avoid. The shock did not come from an explosion, but from the silence. The nuclear technology and advanced stealth of the submarine broke the asymmetry, turning the vast, complex, and dark Caribbean Sea into a completely observable environment. The legacy of this deployment is that of silent surveillance, the realization that the world's most lethal force can be deployed not to fight, but simply to listen, demonstrating that the most terrifying power is the one known to be omnipresent, invisible, and inevitable. The fast attack submarine not only curbed drug trafficking, it imposed a new and frightening reality of deterrence in the depths of the Atlantic. The deployment of the submarine proved that the most terrifying power is the invisible one. The forced peace in the Caribbean is a legacy of the Cold War, where the most lethal force is used simply to listen, dismantling criminal infrastructure with logistical panic. The shock that terrified the world. This analysis has fascinated you. Support us with your like, share the video, and subscribe for more military secrets.